Wi-Fi Sheep would like to say a huge thank you to all of you that kindly support us. Help us continue to bring new videos like this. Join patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep from just $1 a month. Hi everyone and welcome back to Wi-Fi Sheep right here on YouTube with me, Tom. And in this brand new year of 2022, we've had something arrive in the post, which I'm actually kind of excited about in showing you. Now, before we go any further, just need to stress that unlike many of the other sort of reviews of products and things I do on the channel, this one, I'm not affiliated with the creators, manufacturers or publishers in any way. I have just bought this at full price with my own money as a normal person. So what you're going to get is a very truthful and honest review. Anyway, what's inside, and it's arrived literally yesterday, is a brand new magazine, brand new glossy magazine called Pixel Addict. And it's aimed at catering for the retro computer market. It's based here in the UK, but has international distribution. And this is the very first January 2022 issue. And I thought it'd be really good if we actually had a look through it and did a review. I also am rather interested in this because I was tagged in a tweet, or mentioned in a tweet rather, from the publishers that there was going to be a section on this about RISC-OS Direct, which if you are familiar with the channel know that RISC-OS Direct is a project I've been heavily involved with, and I kind of lead the project, was leading the project here on the channel. So there's actually a full review of that here in the first issue, which was a real surprise to me, so hence why I kind of had even more motivation to go and buy a copy. So this is Pixel Addict. Let's have a look and find out if it's any good. However, before we continue, in this brand new year, do you have a need for a reliable, cost-effective web hosting for your blog, business or personal website? If so, then look no further than Cheap Host UK. Cheap Host UK's basic plan starts from only 58 pence per month. That's £6.99 a year. Say goodbye to unreliable hosting and support. And if you're needing a little bit more, Cheap Host UK's premium packages start from just £1.41 a month or £16.99 a year, complete with a free .co.uk domain name. All websites are secured by an SSL certificate. New customers can also take advantage of an extra 10% discount when purchasing any first-time hosting package or domain name from Cheap Host UK. Use discount code SHEEP, that's SHEEP, to get an extra 10% off. For reliable, cost-effective web hosting and domain names, look no further than Cheap Host UK. Full details and an affiliate link are in the description to this video. Okay then, so here we are. This is Pixel Addict version 0.1. 2022. Doesn't actually say January, but it's come out in January 2022. First impressions, it's a nice glossy A4 or European A4 size magazine. It's got reasonable thickness to it. Saying that, I'd far rather have a magazine that had good quality content in it rather than stacks of shovelware or adverts. So, but it's still a good size. The price, so it's at $4.99 in British pounds, working out at $6.50 US dollars, and euros for the continent it's €5.50. So it's not badly priced. I paid I think £6.49 I think it was with shipping. To get this mail ordered, so actually not bad. I've paid more than that for a pamphlet size publication, about half the size of this, and the problem with that one is that they kept trying to crowdfund every edition. I'm not interested in risking money, even that small amount, on something that might not come out, might not happen. This is much more professionally done, and I just had to buy it. Didn't have to sort of risk money in a crowdfunding scheme, so much happier with that. Okay, so front cover, they've gone with the Steve Jobs, Bill Gates story, their history, rivalry battle to reign supreme. Kind of a safe story to go with. Not going to criticise that. Very, very good article, actually. I haven't read it fully and properly, but yeah. And we've also got an Acorn Computer special here, as well as Sega Dreamcast, History of Teletext, and Command and Conquer. So we've got some video gaming stuff in here as well. Again, I haven't actually read the editorial, but we've got the team here, and we've got the pages labelled through. So we're not going to go into huge detail because this is copyrighted editorial, so you'll need to buy this to look at yourself. We're just going to look at what we've got content-wise. So we do have a full page ad here for CEX, which is a UK high street store that specialises in taking used electronics and games, DVDs, things like that, and reselling them. It's a bit like a pawnbroker's, but without offering any credit. But the shops would look like pawnbroker shops, everything in glass cabinets and counters that you deal with people and hand goods over, but they don't do farm somewhere a credit system, so it's just you're selling stuff and then they resell it. So but that's that. But yeah, so nice article here on the Centre for Computing History. This is Jason Fitzpatrick, who runs or sort of creator of the museum. Met him numerous times, had a chat numerous times. This was Centre for Computer History in Cambridge, was where the Retro Computer Festival was held. So Wi-Fi Sheep has exhibited there, or I've been there quite a few times. And it's quite a nice article there. There is a little bit here in the Q&A with him. I can find it now. Here we are. So do you host any shows or events? And he goes on about the different things the museum does. Right here at the bottom, if I can find it. So the Retro Computer Festival is an annual event. Yes, that's the one we attended. Increasing popularity every year. Next year is likely to be too big to hold at the museum. So we're currently investigating a new venue. Yes, that was the rumour when I was there exhibiting, that next year we may have to move out of the museum and go somewhere bigger just to host all the content and people want to come in. That's going to be great if it happens. And I certainly would like to be back this year, the end of the year, when it runs again. So you do need to keep across my social media. It's at Wi-Fi Sheep. And I will be keeping everyone up to date on when or if we're going to be back. So that's a nice article, well worth a read. Articles. This is nice. Now, this about the you'll never get a Mac to do that. This is someone talking about vintage Macintosh, and they actually have an iMac G3 here. This is kind of nice because I grew up with the era of, this is Mac OS, it's like 8 or 9 sort of visuals, but I actually grew up with System 7, Mac OS 8, Mac OS 9, long before Mac OS 10 and the Unix-based systems. So, yeah, I can actually relate to a lot of this. Here's another article that grabbed my attention. This is about welcome to the old internet again. Now, I have seen huge increase in popularity for old computers that could go online, so 20-year-old machines, and those early days of the internet that I think a lot of people kind of want to see or relive again. I certainly remember it. I'm talking about the proper internet, not the BBS dial-up boards or anything like that. I'm talking about proper HTTP protocol, HTML-based dial-up internet, which I certainly remember from the 90s. And yes, this is actually a really interesting article as well. Yeah, so far so good. The articles about the vintage Mac, sort of Mac OS 8 or 9, and the early internet are of particular interest, actually. So they do kind of touch a nerve, really, of, yeah, that's something I'd be interested in and do remember. In fact, just purely out of coincidence, I've got this iMac DV here set up, and it's actually going to be for a slightly later project we're doing with sort of vintage web stuff. I'm also going to look at it running Mac OS 9, and it's quite a cool little computer, so we'll be doing more projects with this machine at a later date. So it's just kind of interesting that I've kind of been moving into the same space as a lot of people who are writing these articles are also sort of thinking about. So, as I said, a lot of interest now in the kind of vintage Apple Mac stuff, and also a lot of interest in that first generation web, HTML web-based stuff that, I don't know about you, but I certainly remember as a child when the internet was brand new. Also, we've got Tony Jewell here, who is the creator or exhibition manager for the Retro Computer Festival in Cambridge. Also a big person into the Dragon 32, which is a Motorola-based 8-bit system. We've never covered this on the channel. I do intend to cover it at some point. Nice little bit here about talking about, is it just a clone of the TRS-80? The two are compatible. They both use the same Motorola 8068 6809 architecture. Get the chip right. Yeah, I don't have any of this sort of hardware, but I do intend to cover something soon here on the channel, so that was interesting to see. And then we've got here Teletext CFAX, which was a big service broadcast over the analog television frequencies on UHF here in the UK. Kind of like a bulletin board system. It lasted a very long time, right through to about 2012 and digital switchover. So this is kind of cool as well. The title feature, Jobs versus Gates, is here. And does a lot about the sort of the Apple history. Again, very nicely presented. And then we have the Windows. So it's like Windows 1. Again, very, very nicely laid out. Very well presented. Got an ad here on the back for, I think, as well as this magazine, they've also launched a Sega magazine as well. So this team are doing quite a few publications. They already were running Amiga Addict. So, yeah, they're doing a lot and they know what they're doing. We then have a feature here on Dreamcast. Again, I don't know a lot about Dreamcast, in all honesty. Never owned one, never used one, but there you go, if you are interested in that. Command & Conquer. Again, I have played this a few times when I was younger. Haven't played it in a few years, but there's a nice feature on that. We've got some arcade cabinet type stuff here. So, here at the back, we've got 3 articles relating to Acorn. This is the Acorn Special. And the first article, entitled The Lie That Was the BBC Micro, is actually a very interesting take, and I won't spoil the article, you've got to read it yourself, but basically the author here, Matt Pomeroy, describes the idea that a lot of these machines were put into schools in the 80s and they sat there and did nothing, and they were never used for their intended purpose, which I can totally relate to, because I know the machines we had were just electronic typewriters at school. They lasted a very long time, but we never did any kind of programming or engineering on. So it's kind of a very stark, real take, rather than a kind of rose-tinted sort of how wonderful the 80s was. It was actually, these machines didn't quite do what they were meant to do. And the same can be actually said nowadays for the Raspberry Pi. I know countless cases of schools that got given free Raspberry Pi, especially in the early sort of 2012, 2013 era. And they just went straight in drawers and they've just been scrapped or thrown in a bin or given away or lost. So yeah, it's a damning article on the kind of state of the education sector then and now, but I actually think very true, and I can totally relate to it. Moving on, we've got a more of a history about the BBC Micro, which again, it's government backed background, so a lot of sort of pictures. You've probably seen these pictures before. There's only so much archive material floating around really from the period, but again, a very interesting article. Goes on to mention briefly about the Archimedes. That's by Andrew Oyston, who actually follows me on Twitter, believe it or not. That's a name I recognise. Don't know if we've ever met in person, we might have done, but yeah, so that's certainly very interesting. But then here at the back, which is what we'll finish on, this article here, A Risk Worth Taking. This was a complete and total surprise to me. So what happened was, in Cambridge at the Retro Computer Festival last year, which had been October 2021, I was given by RiskRest Developments, who own RiskRest Direct, some free SD cards. And I was told that I could give these out selectively to people during the day. So I actually went up to what were then the publishers and the team that were there behind Amiga Addict. And I sort of said, I know you're Amiga people, probably not interested in this, but would you like a free SD card at RiskRest Direct? Little did I know that that was going to turn into this article, which is very, very interesting. I'm curious as to where they got the graphics from, actually. It might have been redrawn. I actually own the blue cog graphic visuals. I'm the rights holder for those. So guys, had you contacted me, I could have given you the raw master files in high resolution vectors that you could have used, but never mind. So we got some screenshots, and it talks about the article. It's a 2-page article here, and it kind of really picks up the blue theme that I designed for RiskRest Direct really quite nicely, actually. And it talks about the Doom port we've covered here on the channel with the video series about the Doom port that's available. Talks about being a coder's heaven. It's a very nice article, actually. And then we have a verdict here of 94% at the end. So there we are then. That's Pixel Addict issue 1, and overall really, really impressed. A great publication. It's a lot of work to get a magazine together, so I have to say nothing but praise. If I was going to be critical, and this might come across as slightly strange, the review for RiskOS Direct, which I thought was very well written by someone who's obviously not affiliated or not really knowledgeable of the OS, I thought actually it was rather kind. What did they give us, like 94% or something? Yeah, it's... even as the person who kind of very much leaded that project, 94% review rating is extremely generous. I would have settled quite happily for a kind of 65, 70%, in all honesty. But I know that's going to sound really weird coming from the person you'd think would want the most out of it. That's a very, very generous review of RiskOS Direct. But hey, maybe people see things that maybe I don't because I'm so heavily involved. It's quite possible. But still, fantastic magazine. Really look forward to issue 2. Am I going to buy it again? Yes. It would be nice to maybe be involved. I certainly think there's a few things we're doing here on the channel that would be a perfect fit for this. So if you're watching this, creators, reach out to me. Seriously, I'd like to talk to you. But yeah, I'll drop a link to where you can get this in the description. As I said, I'm no way affiliated at the moment, so this is just a total independent review off my own back. But it's really nice to see these new kind of publications showing up, especially in the sort of print format here now in the 2020s. If you're brand new to the channel, then don't forget to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter. It's at Wi-Fi Sheep. That's at Wi-Fi Sheep on Twitter. If you want a little bit extra more and want to help me out, please do consider joining me on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. You can support the channel from just £1, $1. If I haven't had the opportunity already, I want to wish you a happy new year. Hope you had a fantastic Christmas holiday period. And I hope to see you real soon right here on the channel. Until next time, look after yourself and bye for now.